This video is on evolution, and it is a change in population, species, or groups of species. It is a process which frequencies of heritable traits in a population change from one generation to the next. Now, for example, we have the finches, like for Darwin's experiment, and he proved like with the evolution, like the birds over time, their beaks became different because they adapted to their new environments. Like here, we have a bird with a small but bigger, like thicker beak, and that is used to like break the seeds that are harder. You have the smaller beak on this bird, which is for the insects, so that way like they can trap them in. And with the different beaks that you see here, it helps them with their like fitness within their environment to stay alive. Because if like you needed to get seeds, but you have the smaller beak, then it's gonna be harder for you to live on and adapt to that because you can't break them and you can't eat them, as well as the bird with the bigger beak. Here we have some evidence of evolution, and you can use 1, like fossils, 2, the biogeography, 3, embryology, 4, comparative anatomy, which is like the homologous and I don't know how to say that, and analogous structures, and you also have the 5th, molecular biology. Now we have natural selection, and that was proposed by Darwin for evolution. And natural selection is the survival and reproduction among individuals in a population as a result of interaction with an environment. It's also the superior inherited traits are adaptive to an environment and increases their individual fitness. And when it says fitness, that means like its ability to survive and leaving their offspring, so they adapted to their new environment. Sexual selection is like the different mating of like between the males, sometimes the females in certain populations. But 2 like main kinds of sexual selection is the male competition, which is like the strength contest, like to see who's the bigger like alpha within the pack. There's also the female's choice, and this is like the traits for like the behavior in the males that the females find attractive. And as you can see in this picture of the polar bears, and like it shows them doing the male competition, which is like the strength contest, like as I said, because they are fighting each other to get the female that they both want. It doesn't really show like a female in both these pictures on the top right and bottom left, but that's like the best I could find. Variations. Their variations are for the natural selection to help operate and arises from or is maintained by a list of the following mutations: sexual reproduction, diploidy, and balanced polymorphism. Then we have speciation, which is the formation of new species capable of interbreeding. Now on this slide we have evolution categorized into 4 groups. First we have divergent, which is 2 or more species that originate from a common ancestor and become different over time. Second, we have convergent, which is 2 unrelated species that share similar traits. Third, we have parallel evolution, which is 2 related species that have made similar evolutionary changes. And last, we have co-evolution, and that's 1 species in response to a new adaptation that appear in other species as well. Here we are defining microevolution versus macroevolution. And microevolution at the top is how a population of organisms change from generation to generation and how species originate. And then we have macroevolution, and that's the pattern of change in groups of related species that have occurred over broad periods of geologic time. Now, on this slide, it's talking about the origin of life, and that's like how it all began with the chemical evolution that we see right here, chemical evolution. That is like the process of like how like we believe to have like contributed to the formation of the first living things within the ecosystem. And in this picture on the bottom right, you can see like it all started with one simple species type of thing, going from like biology organisms to plant life, and they branch out. You can see all these right here are different types of trees. And then here you go from animals, like this octopus, I believe, and it goes to like snails and fish and sharks and insects and like spiders over here. And then it can also go from dinosaurs and then like little like monkeys, animals, and it goes into people. So like it all comes generally from one species and one like evolution within the environment to become a bigger ecosystem.